Welcome back to Chaos Corner. It's your old buddy, the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. And I tell it like it is, live to tape. Same day coverage, 20 feet below the surface of the earth, here at Chaos Corner. Now, fans, you're not going to want to miss it. Show number 46, and we're back to Captain Lou Albano and Bert Randolph Sugar, a match made in heaven. A Complete Idiot's Guide to Pro Wrestling. Fans, this book was written over 20 years ago about our craft, our business, our industry, and it still applies today, even more so over 20 years ago. We cover the history of pro wrestling. A Complete Idiot's Guide with the Guardian of Chaos. I'll say that to say this. Follow me on all social media platforms. Hit my Twitter profile, which is at Big Daddy GOC. And the GOC stands for the Guardian of Chaos. Hit the profile link. That's going to knock you over to the Guardian of Chaos on YouTube for the YouTube channel, and Chaos Corner for everybody out there in the IWC. Obviously, I said on Twitter and YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Gab, on D Live, on Twitch, on Rumble, and I believe Parler will be back. But fans, we are show number 46. I haven't covered this since show number 43. Go back and check those several episodes out. You're not going to want to miss the coverage of A Complete Idiot's Guide. I'm here in the bunker by myself. You can see the music is pumping. We're here on St. Patrick's Day. So, I mean, although I'm not Irish, and I know I'm not supposed to say this because of the pandemic and the CDC, but fuck it. Kiss me, I'm Irish. Fans, stay here because I have some interesting information, some sidebars, things that you're going to want to know. Follow my boys over at the show for branding, for entrepreneur, for to get the rub, to get your spot, and that's at Mario_Chaos. If you're not doing it, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Don't you dare miss it. We're back here for show number 46, live to tape, same day coverage. And fans, I've been waiting to get back to this. I know the first 2 minutes there were on other social media platforms, whether it be Instagram or Gab or even on Twitter. And so we put out a lot of chaos, if you will, pun intended. It's great to be back here in the bunker. Again, show number 46. We're really pumping them out. We're averaging, I don't know, anywhere from 2 to 3 shows, sometimes 4 shows a week. We take a couple of days off to regroup, to get everything together down here in Chaos Corner, and then we're back, putting out creative content for everyone that follows me and for all those people that I follow who help me with my content and with my experience and what we put out there and put it all together here at Chaos Corner. This is what you get on this show. I'm not going to call it a TV show. I'm not going to call it a radio show. I'm not going to call it a program, an episode, a podcast. I'm going to call it Chaos Corner. We left off on the last chapter of A Complete Idiot's Guide. And again, I can't stress it enough. We've left it alone for episode 44 and 45 because we were covering AEW Dynamite and all the news coming out of there, and Impact Wrestling and MLW Fusion and Ring of Honor, and even some WWE product like NXT or SmackDown, and the pay-per-view for Impact, and what's coming up even tonight on St. Patrick's Day for AEW Dynamite. They got a lot of things going on. NXT is also on tonight, and we just came off a couple of days of some great pro wrestling in the industry. Monday night had Raw, which I got to be honest, I didn't watch. I did watch some of the new AEW Elevation with Tony Schiavone and Paul White, a.k.a. The Big Show, a.k.a. The Giant. I did check in on Tuesday night and see Impact, and I see that Finn Juice from New Japan defeated the Good Brothers for the Impact Tag Team Championship, and I believe that sets up, and here's a spoiler alert because they already threw it out there in the IWC, I believe the Good Brothers will try to get the tag team titles back from FinJuice on April 24th, the big pay-per-view for AEW, and that's when, and if you haven't heard, I'm sure you have. Maybe you didn't, but I'm going to tell you. Rich Swann defeated Moose, which, if you go back to the AEW episode with Impact that I started off on, I think maybe 44, I didn't think it was believable. I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't think it should happen. That was just my opinion because the way Moose had turned heel and how vicious he had become and his character and his background and Swann, an incredible athlete. And I just didn't think it was believable. But give credit to Swann. He is now the unified Impact and TNA champion. And with that being said, he takes on AEW heavyweight champion, the cleaner himself, Kenny Omega, with the invisible hand, I'm sure, at ringside or in the booth, Don Callis. And that will also be on April 24th for the big AEW pay-per-view. So you see there's a lot of things coming out. And this weekend, okay, we're here on a Wednesday, live to tape. A lot of great things going on. We already talked about NXT tonight, AEW Dynamite tonight, and of course, Wrestling with Anything But is on tonight at 7 p.m. with Maintaining the Truth with Avi Klein and Paul Roma. So I will be tuning in there. But also, MLW Fusion has a big card with a lot of things being locked up, what Court Bauer's trying to do moving forward. And listen, if you want pure wrestling, they also have a pay-per-view coming up. And fans, there's just so much wrestling on TV and out in the IWC and online, all these big groups. Ring of Honor, who just wrapped up their pure wrestling tournament, Ring of Honor has a big pay-per-view coming up, I believe, this weekend. We know that, or no, it may be next weekend because this weekend is WWE Fastlane, another pay-per-view 2 weeks going into WrestleMania when they don't even have the card figured out for the WWE. So just a lot of things going on here to start off my opening monologue here for news and notes. So that's what's happening on the 24th. And let's not forget that this weekend too, speaking of pay-per-views, Fastlane WWE is Sunday, but I believe Saturday, or maybe it is Sunday on Fight TV. The NWA, Billy Corgan, Nick Aldis, and all the guys are back. The NWA is back. And if again, I'm getting some of the pay-per-views mixed up because I don't have any notes today. This is a one-man show. There's nobody down here in the bunker today. No hecklers. I'm by myself. Unedited, unscripted, no edit button. Raw dog. What you see is what you get from Chaos Corner. Yeah, we'll be going live soon. Yeah, we're working on all kinds of different things. But that takes time. I'm a one-man show. And plus, I want to continue to cover this. And I noticed some of the views are down when I cover this. But guys, you are missing out here. So back to the first opening monologue of what's going on in the wrestling world. You have Fastlane. I've said it 3 times already. We have the NWA coming back. It's about time. Who knows what's going to happen? We know what's going on in Impact, the MLW Fusion and Court Bauer and Ring of Honor. We know everything that's going on there. Check it out. You're not going to want to miss it. Pretty soon, we're going to have grappling, pro wrestling, sports entertainment on almost every night. So if you're a hardcore fan, an insider, someone who wants to learn the business, now is a great time. And then let's throw in the independents. They're opening up Raymond James Stadium for WrestleMania. We're coming back to 50 and 100% capacity all over the country with this virus. So they're looking to try to squeeze in 30, 45,000 people on both nights at WrestleMania. That whole week's going to be crazy. 2 nights of NXT TakeOver, 2 nights of WrestleMania. A lot of the indie shows are going to be circulating down there in the business around the Tampa, Florida area. So there's going to be a lot of things going on. Also, we're on what, to get in the entertainment part, we're on episode number 4 last night of Young Rock. And again, it's a comedy, it's a parody, it's subliminal, it's whatever it is. But if you're someone in the business who wants to find the business, look at it lighthearted and have some fun with it, you're missing the boat because it's a good show. And if you have kids or grandkids, or you do it with the wife or the boys, it really is entertaining for a half an hour. I know there's a lot of things on, but I'm enjoying the Young Rock for what it is. I really am. You have to take that for what it's worth. And another thing on TV, I don't want to sit here and talk about Snowfall or the Mayans on FX. I follow and watch all that stuff, basically. Live the life. Law enforcement, you know that. With that being said, also, the Dark Side of the Ring Chronicles now is in the 2nd episode. We're in season 3, Confidential, and it's being run by Conrad Thompson, I guess the Podfather. I give him a lot of credit as we're almost 10 minutes in here on show number 46. So he gets the producers from Dark Side, Eisner and Holberg. I forget their names. I believe two brilliant guys who've really done their homework. They already had last week the whole Gino Hernandez, Chris Adams, and how he was allegedly murdered and different dealings he had down in the World Class Championship Wrestling days in the 80s. And that was a fantastic time of the business. So that was really interesting, and all the different things that came out of Gino Hernandez's death. And this week it was the Montreal screw job all over again. And to see what happened in the investigations and who they've talked to and just different things that were cut out. So Dark Side of the Ring, The Confidential with Conrad Thompson, and they hold it at the 2300 Arena and the old ECW Arena down there in Philly. They really did a good job with it, and that's an excellent show. Again, if you're not into research and history and facts and going back and looking at the people that paved the way before you, I don't know what the fuck you're doing in this business. I really don't. So I'm going to get off my soapbox and all the different things coming up. We have a big week of pro wrestling coming up next week, and even especially tonight. Everyone enjoy yourself and stay safe. Don't drink and drive. No distracting driving. Stay home. Have a good time. We got this kicked in the ass, as I always say, but we're 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in. 11:11 actually. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Mr. Hempel Stillskin for getting everyone through the pandemic. If you're not going out to Sweet Heel CBD at sweetheal.com and hooking up with my boy Mr. Hempel Stillskin for all your CBD needs, I don't know what the hell you're doing. It is everything from mindfulness to insomnia to anxiety to inflammation. It's for your pets. It's for overall wellness. There are lotions and rubs and tinctures and edibles, and it's all legally licensed and grown right here in the Constitution State. So support your local entrepreneurs, your small businesses, and especially Sweet Heel and Sweet Heel CBD at sweetheal.com. And my old buddy, Mr. Hempel Stillskin. What a name. And remember this about that. And I'll say that to say this. If you use the promo code CHAOS, CHAOS, chaos on the promo code at Sweet Heel, you will get 25% off. And in this economy, the way they're taxing everybody, and what's going on with the new government, what's going on in D.C., and I don't like any of it, we're in a lot of trouble that way. Don't you want to save some money? 25%. We got over millions of people on unemployment. So it makes sense. Sweet Heel CBD, Mr. Hempel Stillskin, sweetheal.com. I can't say it enough. Let's make me look good by using the promo code CHAOS so we can get going here. If I don't go a day without using it, I don't know what the hell I would do. Also, a big shout out, big props to folks that have been following me out there that I'm trying to hook up with, and that's Sports Grid Radio. Thank you, Sports Grid, here at almost 13 minutes in. Let's get Chaos Corner on Sports Grid Radio, please. Can we do that? Can we find a time slot for a professional wrestling show on Sports Grid Radio? Because you're the only ones that are missing the boat. Ratings, numbers, sponsors, advertisers, and the Guardian of Chaos with and not only over 30 years in the industry, but also in broadcasting and radio and sports entertainment himself. So can we make this happen, Sports Grid Radio? I appreciate your support. Finally, 13 minutes in, we're going to get on to it. Chapter number 5, rules. What rules? I can't say it enough. Go out and get the book. We're going to spend a little time down here today for show 46. We're going to have some fun. It's me. It's the GOC. So here we go. Bear with me. Kick back. Let's get, listen, you can either go for the, yes, I know, I'm looking. I know how I'm looking. Thank you. I appreciate that for the female audience. I get it. We either have a Diet Pepsi, no more Diet Cola, no more Coca-Cola products. And I think you know where I'm coming from if you know me personally. Maybe a little Aguavage. We're trying to get in better shape. The spring is here. The spring has sprung. But I need a little boost, a little kick. I don't have any Red Bull. I'm going to go with, a little bit of something. Does it look like CM Punk? Does it remind you of the CM Punk tattoo? Has anybody ever gotten a story? Leave a section in the comment section or the inbox me. Do something about the Diet Pepsi logo and what it has to do with CM Punk. And no, he hasn't come back to wrestling, and I don't know if he ever will for all you fans out there. So stand by. We're going to have dead air for 30 seconds. I hope you don't mind. 5 seconds. Now, up in Chaos Quarters right now, I know it's a Wednesday, so we're a day late and a dollar short here at Chaos headquarters, but we are having Taco Tuesday on Wednesday, and then a big night tonight, as I said, of NXT Dynamite, MLW Fusion, and of course, it's St. Patrick's Day, and I'm not even Irish. Here we go, fans. I want to show you where we are in the book. Good old nice drawings. That's one thing I miss is cartoons of professional wrestling from back in the day. It's very artistic. I like a lot of the stuff. There's Captain Lou. Here's where we are. Follow along. Go out and get this book. I told you how many times I've lent it out. In this chapter, the concept of rules, referee rules, group rules, and on-the-spot rules. That's what we're going to cover here. Sit back, relax. Show number 46. Chaos Corner, because I tell it like it is. Let's have some fun. You could see that I'm... I know what you're thinking. School is in session. Let's get down to task at hand. There's the golden rule, rules of thumb, and wrestling rules. And all three are honored more in the breach than in the observance. So as you can probably guess, this chapter on the rules of pro wrestling is going to be a short one. If anyone knows about breaking the rules in the world of pro wrestling, it's the most notorious manager in the fucking business, and that was yours truly. Make no mistake about it. Do your research. Check out the over 600 classic videos with thousands more to come on the Guardian of Chaos. Big Daddy. Because I think it's your own buddy. I tell it like it is. I'll say, come on. Entertainment. Textbook rules for sports are supposed to be very mortar that holds a contest together, controls its action, and determines the winner and loser. Wrestling rules, however, are like quicksand. They shift constantly to satisfy the demands of the moment. The plain truth of the matter is that few of the rules in wrestling today are observed. Go see AEW. But there are still a few, a very few. And on these pages, you'll learn what they are. Rules are made to be broken. Remember, a match made in heaven, Captain Lou Albano, Bert Randolph Sugar, a pro wrestling guide, incomplete idiot's guide. I resemble that remark, and no offense to my audience. Hit the like button. Get us in the algorithm. In fact, the extremes of the moment seem to call for their own rules. Take the case of George Zaharias. For example, George was a member of the infamous Zaharias brothers, major wrestlers in the 1930s. When asked about this conversation from a babyface to a villain, George explained it this way. One night in Memphis in 1930. I said to the promoter, look at my eyes, they're all cut. Nobody wrestles by the rules. And this old promoter told me, hit him first. So I became a villain and saw that there were always fireworks when I wrestled. I've said this many, many times, fans. I'm reading along here. Bear with me. We're just starting. It's much easier to be a heel than to be a face, to get over in this business. I mean, if you think about it, you talk to anyone that's in the business, you talk to the big timers, you talk to the pros, and they'll tell you, it's easier to be a heel and get over, but be a face and get over, or flip-flop and do both, and we'll have a show on that one day. Heels that became faces and faces who became heels and were successful transitioning, because it's a tough transition, as you fans well know. Back in the days when there was a clear distinction between baby faces and baddies, heels, rudos, only the bad guys would be the rule breakers. Now, however, the line between good guys and bad guys has become increasingly blurred. It seems that anybody worthy of a jockstrap could give less than 2 snaps of their fingers about the rules. Most fans have a strong belief in right and wrong and in the idea that rules are rules. But in a society that has adopted an attitude that is more and more in your face, say that in 2021, and stick it in your ear, the fans will support their heroes even if they test the elasticity of the rules and revert to a code that concerns itself more with convenience than with honor. But there were the rules for wrestling once upon a time, just like there are for any other sport. And if you've ever wrestled in this city, and I get onto this story, boy, they used to break my balls. And Paz, that's right, Paz out there for the NYSAC, the New York State Athletic Commission. I hope you're doing okay, Paz. I just put up a picture of you and I in New York with the NWA heavyweight champion of the time, Christian Cage, who is now just signed for AEW. Outwork anyone. Remember that night, Paz? And the next night, boy, you broke my stones, but we had one hell of a time. Christian is a true legend. Fans, ease off on Christian. AEW's doing okay, man. It's a year and a half in, okay? Here we go. The New York State Athletic Commission first set of rules covering wrestling read in part as follows. The New York State Athletic Commission, pay attention. Matches to be decided by falls, 2 out of 3, 3 out of 5, as may be agreed upon in making the match. All matches shall be limited in time to 2 hours. Should there be only one fall in the 2 hours, the winner of that fall will be declared the winner of the contest. The referee will be instructed by the commission to disqualify any wrestler who indulges in the following unfair and foul methods. New York State Athletic Commission: striking, scratching, gouging, any display of bad temper, strangleholds, so-called headlocks, toe locks, and scissor holds, which are held specially for the purpose of punishing an opponent, are declared to be foul methods, and if indulged in, the offender will at once be disqualified and the match given to the opponent. He will further be punished by having his license revoked. Remember when this book was written? Remember the time frame and the New York State Athletic let me get it out of the way now because I was listening to him earlier this morning. The legendary Bully Ray, 2-time Hall of Famer, WWE Hall of Famer, perhaps the best tag team wrestler of all time, current host of Busted Open Radio with David LaGreca on Sirius XM's Fight Nation. He said to me while we were competing against Bubba Bully and Devon for the NWA Tag Team Championships with Diablo Santiago and Omar Tortuga, the Outcast Killers, and yours truly, the Guardian of Chaos. He said to me, because I had like 7 spots in our first bout for the titles, he said, you got to be there, Chaos. This is Bully talking to me. You got to be there. I said, Bubba, we're good. We get out there, the Dipsy Do, the Dusty Road, bang. I take the what's up from the top rope. I've talked about this before, but I want to reference it now. We get backstage. Things went well. Nobody really picked up on it. We lost, didn't get the titles. Of course, it's the legendary Dudley Boys. He says to me, he said, Chaos, Big Dad, let me talk to you. Jesus Christ, I give you 7 spots and you fuck up 6 of them, but you did okay, you sold it. I consider that to be a compliment coming from a Hall of Famer like Bully Ray. I'm proud of that. So whenever I stumble or mix up, this is hard to do. There's no edit button. There's no short clips. There's no chopping it up. That's what happens. So that's why I always refer to that with Bully Ray, because he's the one who first brought it to my attention. I guess it's true. 21 minutes in, 23 minutes in here. You see what I did there? Show number 46. A Pro Wrestling Idiot's Guide. Bingo. What a book. People talk about books, but sending me suggestions. I have a library over here that's vast. This is one of my favorites. So that was the New York State Athletic Commission and what they put out there for their commission and their rules. You can see it's a bunch of BS. Half the stuff goes on in wrestling. So as a heel, you were always breaking the rules. It all sounds so quaint, doesn't it? Once wrestling was categorized as an entertainment rather than a sport, the control of the State Athletic Commission was gone. But even as late as 1954, the New York State Athletic Commission was still attempting to impose strict rules. It was fighting a losing battle. However, and today there is no controlling body outside the federation themselves to impose or enforce any rules in pro wrestling. But that's not exactly true. That's not exactly correct. Because in the independent circuit, I can't speak for the WWE because I don't work for the WWE. In the independent circuit, as recently when I retired from in-ring physical confrontation 07, 08 in that area, when I stepped out of the ring and went to New York, I was still had to fill out the forms, fill out the paper. The doctor still came in, listened to your heart, took your blood pressure, and the current guys, even at PAPW, at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, can tell you the same thing that are out of New York. You still have an athletic commission, and they were still charging us a fee back then. But there's ways to get around things, if you know what I'm talking about. But it's still happening today, I believe, in 2021. The New York State Athletic Commission in that state and the clowns, Cuomo, de Blasio, even back to even Mario Cuomo, they're not letting anybody get away with not paying their fair share to the state. Please, let's wake up. Let's not make this a political show, okay? Let's keep it pro wrestling, a sports entertainment, the guardian of chaos. Ways to win a match. Of course, there have been some rules. After all, without any, there'd be no way of telling when a match was over. There are 5 traditional ways to win a wrestling bout. 5, according to the rules. Sometimes they're honored, sometimes they're not. 1, the pinfall. Hello? Anybody home? McFly. Pin your opponent's shoulder to the mat for a 3 count. Submission. Bueller? Anyone? Similar to making opponent say, uncle. Uncle, not auntie, uncle. Making him or her tap out. Once a wrestler has submitted, he is supposed to be released from the hold that brought him down. But that doesn't always happen, as we well know. Many of the time, you'll find other wrestlers breaking into the ring to free their trapped colleagues, and referees are supposed to break the hold when one wrestler has submitted. But most referees are no match for the big bruisers in the ring. Well, some of the guys today aren't big bruisers. See Marco's stunt. I'm just saying, don't get mad. He's still a tough customer. A tough customer. When's the last time you heard that? He's one tough customer. When I think of a tough customer, I think of the unpredictable Johnny Rods. Now that's a tough customer. Woo, we're in rare form today here on Chaos Corner. That's right. So we already said that. Big bruisers in the ring. Listen, so the submission hold is often held long after the wrestler has cried, uncle. Again, I love that. Crying uncle. Disqualification. When an opponent breaks the rules or stipulations of the match, whatever they may be at the time, or his allies interfere with the match in progress, the offending wrestler is disqualified, aka a DQ. Punching with a closed fist is supposed to be grounds for disqualification, but no one has been DQ'd for since the time is immemorial. Is that a word? Immemorial? I'm a college educated man. It may be a word, but that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is no one gets disqualified for a closed fist, okay? They're not allowed in the ring, but they turn up all the time. Isn't that funny? The count out. 1, 2. When a wrestler has been out of the ring for 20 seconds while his opponent waits in a neutral corner, or the fallen wrestler does not make it back into the ring in the allotted time, the bout is awarded to the wrestler in the corner. But should that wrestler leave the neutral corner, the count begins again from start. Unlike boxing, where the count is supposed to be suspended until the boxer returns to his corner. You'd be surprised at the number of wrestlers who don't know or ignore this rule, so the referee never gets to 20. See the Zebras of Justice at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling. Jay Mendez, El Ref, Ref Gina, Slick Willie, a.k.a. Senior Ref Bill Thompson. The Zebras of Justice. Perhaps the best group of wrestling referees in the pro wrestling business in all of the country. Not just the Northeast metropolitan New England area. They've traveled all over the country. I'll say that to say this. Render your opponent unable to continue. The sleeper hold, for example, can earn a victory for the wrestler applying it, even if this opponent never submits and is never pinned. Let's go to some sidebars that I always talk about. Captain Lou's Corner, Bert's Corner, Body Slam, Fighting Words, In Your Face, different sidebars from the Complete Idiot's Guide to Pro Wrestling. Fighting words. Babyface are often just face. A good guy wrestler who fans usually cheer for. Villain, the bad guy, the rudo, so to speak. Wrestler who tries to bring down the face in the match. Did you get that, fans? Babyface, or just a face. A good guy wrestler who fans usually cheer for. Villain, the bad guy wrestler who tries to bring down the face in the match. Hello? Let's go to Body Slam, another sidebar here for a complete idiot's guide. Submission rules are needed to keep wrestlers from being injured too badly. Some holds, like the sleeper holds, can do a great deal of damage. Yeah, that's for damn sure. If applied and held for too long, a wrestler therefore must be given the option of extricating himself from a dangerous hold by way of submission. Let's move on, fans. The ring rope rule. If a wrestler has a hold on his opponent and the opponent manages to get part of his body under or on the ring ropes, the hold must be broken before the count of 10. This rule also applies for illegal holds like choke holds. But there are ways around this. If the hold is broken and then reapplied, the count starts all over again. A loophole in the rules that allows a villain to choke his opponent for somewhat more than the union scale. Did I have to say union? We're not talking politics here. I was a union brother at one time. I had to try to break the unions now. I don't know. I'm just saying. But there are ways around this. If the hold is broken and then reapplied, the count starts all over again, as we said. A loophole in the rules that allows a villain to choke his opponent for somewhat more than the union scale. Again, we're back to the union. We just repeated it. And I'll say that to say this again. Provided that he never chokes his opponent for more than 10 consecutive seconds. That is, in a single application of the hold. I hope you're paying attention here, fans. We're 30 minutes in here, show number 46, live to tape. The ring rope rule has been exploited by smart wrestlers. They grab the ring ropes when in trouble, and if they can't do that, they will lay an ankle on the ropes, which is all that's required for the referee to break the hold. This is one of the rules that is religiously observed. True veterans of the wrestling wars, they have been known to use the ring ropes for leverage to help them attain a pin, since they know that the referee will be paying close attention to their opponent's shoulders and not take notice of the infraction of the ropes. Don't touch that man in the middle, aka the zebras of justice. Outside of a bank guard in Alaska, who has to distinguish between regular customers wearing ski masks and bank robbers wearing the same thing? The wrestling referee has one of the most arduous jobs in the world. Not only must he be fast enough to get out of the way of projectiles weighing upwards of 350 pounds flying around the ring at warp speed. Thank you, President Trump. Warp speed. You see, I always throw current events in there. Or is it President Biden now? Either way, they were presidents. And he's got to avoid getting rolled up when the two behemoths are on the mat and he's down there beside them trying to tick away 3 seconds by pounding the canvas to a significant fall, or to signify the fall. The wrestlers each know or should know what the other is going to do, and where each will wind up after every move. The referee often doesn't. And a referee who is not fleet of foot or unable to intuition for the short, what's going to happen next is a real danger of getting severely injured. I say this all the time. Don't try it at home. It's legit. It's like being a stuntman. You fans don't get it. You think you all can do it. I dare you. Many of the time we've witnessed something like what happened during WrestleManias. If you were watching, you saw Shawn Michaels, the Heartbreak Kid, get a figure 4 on Stone Cold Steve Austin. Once Austin broke that hold, Michaels followed up with the sleeper hold. Meanwhile, referee Mike Chioda, who was just on last night's Dark Side of the Ring, was driven into a corner, bumped, and if you will, but ref bumps seem to happen all the time. Zebras of Justice, PAPW. Michaels now made it as if he was going to give his famous foot to the chin kick. He had a little chin music, but he missed in his move, and Austin stunned him, the Stone Cold Stunner, instead. With the ref out of the action, guest referee Mike Tyson, that's right, Iron Mike when he was in the WWE, had to step into the ring. He was supposed to be in the league with Michaels, but he counted his purported cohort out with the obligatory 1, 2, 3. I remember that like yesterday. Austin took the WWF heavyweight title that night, and when Michaels confronted Tyson for his duplicity, he got clocked for his efforts with a well-aimed punch. A referee is also charged with keeping control of the riot. That's going to happen all around him, especially that night. But even armed with a rule book, and even when he's even playing a role in the storyline of the bout, the man in the bow tie and the stripes is often overmatched when faced with a pair of huge wrestlers who are determined to make mincemeat of the rules. But one thing is for real, and I've said it on the previous podcast where we covered this book. real, real. I guess we'll say in other words, for a shoot. They can't make mincemeat of the referee. Any wrestler who does so at his peril. The penalty for the such shenanigans is usually a stiff fine and a suspension, especially in those states where there is still a state-run athletic commission overseeing the bouts. You just don't mess with the ref. I'm going to get on to a couple of sidebars here. We'll go to Bert's Corner. We'll follow it up with fighting words, and then we're going to go to Captain Lou's Corner. Bert's Corner, Bert Randolph Sugar, the legend. One of the earliest rules of wrestling was, thou shalt not touch the referee. One wrestler who did was Everett Marshall, who was suspended by the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission in 1934 after attacking referee Ben Paul in a December match against Jim Londas. If that's not history, and if that's not what you get here from not only this book, but from the Guardian of Chaos and Chaos Corner, change the channel. I don't know why you're here. This is how you learn what came before you, by watching this show. Understood? Thank you. Fighting words. When a referee or one of the wrestlers takes an unplanned hit, that's a bump. While most of the action in the ring is choreographed, sometimes accidents do happen. You think Droz and D'Lo Brown, think Owen Hart, think Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin. I could sit here and go on and on of legitimate injuries that put people out of the ring. Think of my old buddy, a young man from years ago in the independent scene, Danny Quirk, a.k.a. Spider, who passed away right outside the ring doing a suicide dive. So this is real. This is the part where I'm not joking around. I'm not kidding. Let's get off the entertainment. One wrong move. You even see the current stars who are out. And I don't have to tell you, fans, do your research. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's why when people say it's fake, you understand why people like myself in the business and insiders and even people in the know and real athletes would get upset. It's predetermined, yes. There is no outcome like an regular athletic event. But what happens in there, in the moves, in the physical punishment, is real. More real than you can get. And I challenge and implore anyone who thinks they can get in there and do it in any field or any profession that you've ever been in. And I'll even give you credit if you were a former pro athlete or did something somewhere else, MMA, boxing, football, whatever it is. You'll still get in there and realize how hard it is, even if you can make it. Think about that. Let's get on to Captain Lou's Corner, Chaos Corner, Captain Lou's Corner. Yeah, and I guess tonight I'll watch my old buddy Mario Mancini, who came up with Mario's Corner with Avi Klein and Paul Roman, Maintaining the Truth. Facebook Live, 7 o'clock. Wrestling with anything but Mario's Corner, my former podcast partner. I know you don't watch these shows, Mancini. Mario's Corner, Chaos Corner. Come on, really? Can I get at least some copyright material or royalties from somebody? Can I get something? I got to jerk off the dog to feed the cat. Here we go. Captain Lou's Corner. Guest referees are used sometimes like when Vince McMahon was in a recent bout, remember the time frame, fans, between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Dude Love. Most of the time, the wrestlers respect the referees enough not to hurt them, at least on purpose. But such is often not the case when Vinnie Mac is acting as the guest referee, and we've seen that over history. Go back and check it out. A great photo here of Harley Race and Jerry Briscoe. The photo by Norman Keitzer, referee Bill Alfonso. It's a dark picture. I don't know if you're really going to be able to see it, but I'll put it up here. Bill Alfonso is the referee. Harley Race giving a left to the jib of Jerry Briscoe. Legit badasses. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can. I'll put it up a little closer. Pictures are a little dark, but if you can see that. I appreciate it. We're 40 minutes in here. Tag team rules. It's double your pleasure, double your fun, and double trouble for the referee when tag teams get together on the card. The rules themselves are simple. Two wrestlers go up against two others. but only 2 wrestlers, one for each side, of course, are supposed to be in the ring at any one time. The match starts with one man, called the legal man, from each team in the ring. In order for a wrestler to get his partner into the act, the legal man must touch or tag his partner's hand, thus the name tag team. Once the tag has been made, the new man becomes the legal man, and the first wrestler, the one who made the tag, has 10 seconds to vacate the premises. Those are the rules. In most tag team matches, however, time is often too short for a course in etiquette, and the wrestlers seem to have misplaced the rule book. We've seen wrestlers play the tag team hokey pokey, you know. You put your left foot in, you pull your left foot out to get closer to the tag. Not bad, Chaos. We've seen double teaming during the 10-second changeover interval, and we've seen even teammates dress alike, so the referee having trouble figure out which one of the wrestlers is which, illegally scores pinfalls without realizing it. Yeah, if anyone knows about tag team wrestling, it would be the Guardian of Chaos, who has managed probably close to 100 different tag teams in his illustrious career. But back to the task at hand. As is true of most wrestling rules, tag team rules were obeyed far more often in the past than they are today. Remember the time frame, we're over 20 years ago with this, but it's still relevant today in 2021. Now, it's quite common to have all 4 wrestlers surge into the ring at once, while the referee is reduced to clinging to the back of one of them, like a shell on a turtle, fruitfully trying to restore order. Futility is what I say. I don't know about fruitfully. How about futility? A couple mistakes. I'm going to have to write to Alpha Books and maybe get this reprinted. That's about the 5th one I've caught so far. And we're only 5 chapters in this crazy world of pro wrestling. Okay, here we go. Let's get on to a Bert's Corner before we finish up this article. It's bad enough that the refs have to worry about all 4 of the tag team wrestlers ending up in the ring at once. Even worse when the managers and valets get into the act. But when visiting wrestlers or other wrestlers appearing later on the bill join in the fun, well, you might say things can get a little out of hand. Chaotic, if you will. That's Bert's Corner. Refs still make at least some attempts to enforce the tag team rules, but there are problems are compounded because while they're trying to keep track of 4 wrestlers, they're also trying to deal with the wrestlers' managers or valets, which kind of screwed it up for the traditional wrestler, let's be honest, especially in the middle to late 90s and by the early 2000s. And, I was fortunate enough to have another almost decade run, but they really, everyone wanted to see TNA and the way of the old managers, the legends a la Jim Cornette, Fred Blassie, Captain Lou, Gary Hart, Paul Ellering, Jim Cornette. The list goes on and on. The Grand Wizard. I mean, I could tell you so many different great managers. They really ruined it for that role and for all those creative genius minds and even wrestlers who went on to be managers a la J.J. Dillon and so on and so forth. I mean, just every guy that I've conferred with and talked with and been coached by and mentored by has molded me into the character that I was for my career. So I think it's a real disservice to the business to not have the old-time traditional professional wrestling manager. Even your guys like Mr. Fuji, he went on to be a manager. Arnold Skolin, I can go on and on. But we know who the best were. Bobby Heenan was one of the best ever. Jim Cornette, Gary Hart, Precious Paul Ellering, Paul Heyman nowadays, a.k.a. Paul E. Dangerously. Some really unbelievable managers. Even my old buddy Joel, if you put it in and push it in too far, Gertner. That's right, my boy, the quintessential stud muffin, Joel Gertner, who I had quite a feud with at one time. Even the legendary author who was quite the grappler in the indie scene, Kenny Casanova. Yeah, Kenny Casanova. And, of course, the aforementioned who passed away not too long ago, Mr. Paul Adams, was also quite the referee on the indie circuit. So here we go, fans. We're talking about the distraction of managers and wrestlers in tag team matches. Just about everybody usually ends up attempting to insinuate themselves into the fray, either by actively joining in the melee or causing distractions so the wrestler can gain the upper hand. As a manager, I've resorted to jumping up and down, shouting and screaming. I've done just about everything I think I could to exhort my wrestlers and distract the referee or the opposing team. I've even taken at shouting 3, 3, when the referee seems to forget how to count that high before one of the opposing teams jumps off the canvas. And manager Freddie Blassie, classy Freddie Blassie, will do anything to stave off the inevitable, legal or not, just like the GOC. He'll even use his cane to yank one of the opposing tag team members' legs if it looks like he's going to manage to get one of Freddie's wrestlers. Remember the time frame of the book, written in 1999. Bobby Heenan, the Grand Wizard, and Mr. Fuji, as well as other managers of my day, not to mention today's current crop of managers like Jimmy Hart, Sensational Sherry, and Ted DiBiase. We all have a job to do. That's to ensure that our wrestler wins by hook or by crook, by any means necessary. This is my forte in the wrestling business. Feeling pretty good right now. 45 minutes in, show number 46. Thanks for being here. Mr. Fuji did it by throwing salt. Jimmy Hart does it with a megaphone, and none of us have ever been above jumping in the ring to lend vital assistance to our fallen charges if the moment was right. So rules for tag team matches, as they say in New York, forget about it. And fuck New York. There are no rules when it comes to the Guardian of Chaos in pro wrestling. By the seat of their trunks. Some rules are written in stone, others are made up to suit the moment. Those on-the-spot rules can vary greatly and are known as stipulations. If both wrestlers agree ahead of time to wrestle under certain conditions that differ from the usual conventions, those conditions or stipulations become the rules. For example, a Falls Count Anywhere match obviously breaks the rule that wrestling is supposed to happen only in the ring. In such a match, the action can spill out on the arena floor. It can be carried out into the crowd and could even spread to the concession stand, a.k.a. the Tupelo, Mississippi Brawl with Jerry the King Lawler. Go out and check that one out with him and Dundee if you want to see action and footage and Missy Hyatt, a legendary classic from the 80s. Or a match can have a weapons stipulation, as in a brass knucks match, which I really miss those. Those were unbelievable back in the 80s and back in the territory days, which requires that the wrestlers use brass knuckles. And then there are cage matches fought in an enclosed ring where the rules are very different from a regular ring match. These are really some different stipulations, and this is what makes wrestling entertainment when they come up with different matches like this. You gotta love it. Dress code. What is a dress code? You wouldn't know it nowadays in some of the indie circuit. These guys look like they just rolled out of bed, and to me, if you want to be a champion, you want to be a professional, you look the part, you act the part, you be the part, you live the part, you breathe the part, you eat the part, eat, rinse, repeat. You get where I'm coming from, right? You don't look like you just rolled out of bed or this or that. Look the part. Put some thought into your gear, the way you look, your different way you shape up, the way you manicure yourself, your hygiene, your gear. Be that person, act that person, shut up and listen, be humble, and maybe you'll have a chance to get some bookings in this business and maybe make it a living someday. But this right here, I mean, it's really going off the wayside. It really has when it comes to, unless you're a big professional, dress code is one of my big things when it comes to being a pro wrestling grappler. It's been said that men wear clothes for warmth, women for spite, and children because they have to. But in wrestling, none of this counts. Wrestlers can wear trunks, tights, blue jeans, even stretch pants. Me, I always dressed as if the Goodwill box just threw up on me. This is Captain Lou talking. And most of the women wrestlers wear something they just threw on and damn near missed. Yeah, TNA, we get that. If there's anything like a dress code restriction, it has to do with the show itself. For instance, if the wrestler dressed in full cowboy regalia with hat, boots, the whole kit and caboodle, well, that's all right. But if there are heels on those boots, they're there for one reason only, to smash the opponent's face on. That is definitely not all right, unless, of course, the heels are there as a gimmick. Other than that, anything goes. After all, this is wrestling. I agree but don't agree. This is just me. That's Captain Lou talking. I'm telling you where I'm coming from. When I went out as a broadcaster or commentator or ring announcer or an backstage interviewer, which I did all of the above, a promoter, advertiser, face of the company, I always had a nice collared shirt, a hat, a fedora, whatever you want to call it, a nice pair of shoes. always representing the face of the company and yourself. As an in-ring performer, yeah, I wore my Big Daddy clothing company. I left a little bit to be desired. The leather bandana, the chains, the feathered boas, the cut-off shirts, the usual jogging pants, and of course the wrestling boots or the high-tech boots. Yeah, that was the Guardian of Chaos character. So I agree and disagree. We're 50 minutes in, show number 46, live to tape here on St. Patrick's Day, covering a complete idiot's guide to the world of pro wrestling with Captain Lou Albano and Bert Randolph Sugar. A match made in heaven. It's an unbelievable book. Legendary impresario Captain Lou Albano and incomparable sports writer Bert Randolph Sugar bring you ringside. It just really is an unbelievable book, perhaps one of my greatest. And we're getting ready to wrap up here. I'd like to keep it under an hour. Thanks for being here. The least you need to know from the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. What rules there are in wrestling are made to be broken. Foreign objects are allowed in the ring unless stipulated before the bout. The referee has one of the hardest jobs in the world. Tag team partners are supposed to tag each other before entering the ring. That's the least you need to know, coming from the GOC here on a complete idiot's guide. Now, fans, we basically, I want to say on like 5 different episodes, 5 different shows, whether it be show 43, 42, 41, thereabouts. Go back and check it out. You'll see it in the description. You'll see it down in a link. And now show 46, a complete idiot's guide to pro wrestling. It's an unbelievable refresher course, and it applies to everyone in the business, whether you be a fan, a smart mark, a regular mark, an insider, a pro wrestler, a manager, a promoter, anybody in the business, whoever you are, or just a casual reader of books in the writing community. This really is unbelievable. So we're going to finish up here, show 46. What we'll come back to, and it'll be soon, Part 2, the Founding Fathers, Wrestling's Colorful History. That's what we're going to get into on the next episode. What makes fans love to watch 2 people grapple in the squared ring? Maybe more interesting, why would anyone want to get beaten up, held under a sweaty armpit, or hit over the head with a metal chair? Crazy as it might seem, professional wrestling is extremely popular with both fans and wrestlers alike. Wrestling is a multi-million-dollar industry with hundreds of thousands of fans. The ratings show that week after week, night after night, pay-per-view buy after pay-per-view buy, streamers, podcasters, the IWC. How did basic wrestling grow into professional wrestling? The vision of a few founding fathers started the movement. As momentum grew, pro wrestling took on more power than almost anyone could imagine. And in this part of the book, we introduce you to the legends of the ring. And that's what I'll be covering on my next show, which will be show number 47, maybe show number 48. We're fastly approaching show number 50. I want to continue to cover this book, plus give you regular updates on all the organizations, AEW Dynamite, NXT, MLW Fusion, Impact on Access and Twitch, AEW Elevation, AEW Dark, Ring of Honor. There's a lot of different things going on, all the different pay-per-views, and we have the big one coming up, WrestleMania, in not too long. We're less than a month out. We're 3 weeks away, maybe. So, thank you, fans, for being here. This is where we're headed next. Just want to give you a quick photo. The Founding Fathers. There's Bert Randolph Sugar himself. So, fans, thank you. We're going to continue to cover this because I really enjoy it, and I know you fans enjoy it. This will be part 2. As you can see, we still have a long way to go in here, but I find this to be as enjoyable as giving you news and updates. So tonight, stay safe. St. Patrick's Day. Watch Wrestling with Anything Wrestling with Anything But podcast on Facebook Live. Again, like as I said, stay safe out there on St. Patrick's Day. Stay with like-minded people. Be strong. Stay to your moral compass, your beliefs in yourself and your people around you. Protect yourself. Look out. Keep your head on a swivel with all this craziness of whether it be immigration policies, social justice, education, the government, taxes, stimulus checks. Stay positive. Keep informed, but stay distracted and continue to live your life and be free of who you are as a person and as your family and friends and people surrounding you. And whether this makes sense to you or not, it makes sense to me. Okay? Live your life. Don't live in fear. Live in faith. Everything's going to be okay as long as you believe and as long as you stick to who you are. Be proud to be who you are. You can identify and get along with everyone else and show respect, the whole 9 yards. But be true to yourself and who you are. Never just go along to get along. You have a conviction, you feel strongly about something, speak up for yourself. We don't live in fear in this country. Or if you're a fan of the Guardian of Chaos. So with that being said, I'm off my soapbox. It was a great show of covering the complete idiot's guide to pro wrestling. I can't thank you enough for being down here in the bunker. We'll hang out for a little bit. We're at 55 minutes. We'll go up to just under an hour so I can upload this. Look at the close-up. And I hope you guys are watching and have a lot of fun. We're doing a lot of different things. We're feeling good. We have a lot of positivity. We have a big event coming up just next weekend here locally in the Northeast New England corridor and in the shadows of Titan Towers. Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling has a big event coming up on Saturday, March 27th at 7 p.m. Down at the Performance Center. So, fans, you're not going to want to miss that. Go to ParadiseAlleyProWrestling.com for all the information. We know who runs Paradise Alley, and that's the former Four Horsemen, Power and Glory, Pretty Wonderful, and that would be the head trainer at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling, and that would be Pretty Paul Roma, along with the youngest man at the time in the WWF. Okay, he's in 3 different encyclopedias for the World Wrestling Entertainment. He was the Undertaker's debut match, and that would be Mario Mancini. And then, of course, there's second-generation grappler, Mr. Paul Perez. And then there's the owner, no one to be trifled with, the bounty hunter himself, the big man, Big Steve Tracy, the Paradise Four, who all worked under the guidance of the World Wrestling Federation. You don't get too much out there from a training facility, a card, a promotion, a lineup, and trainers like the Paradise Four. They don't just teach you about professional wrestling. They teach you about life, how to be a man, a woman, a good person, communicate, believing in yourself and your freedom and confidence. That's what they bring to the table. There's a lot of great schools out there, a lot of other great competitors. But you can't go wrong at PAPW. So with that being said, we're going to wrap it up. Again, I appreciate you hung out to the end. We'll keep this less than an hour. Show number 46, live to tape on St. Patrick's Day, same day coverage. I'll say that to say this. It's me, it's the GOC, the usual phrases. So with that being said, what's that, the 3rd or 4th time? I know I repeat myself a lot. You know I don't give a fuck, right? But I do repeat myself. Thank you, everyone out there. Continue to stay here. Follow me on all social media platforms. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble, DLive, and Parler will be back. And if you don't, it's all good. Don't you dare miss it. Chaos Corner and the GOC.